If you think Cinderella is just a beloved fairy tale turned animated Disney movie, think again. It's also a kick-ass hair metal band from Philly that put out some of the best hard rock and blues fusion albums of the 80s. Let's take a closer look at Cinderella. Cinderella was formed in Philadelphia around 1983 by singer-songwriter, guitarist, and pianist Tom Kiefer, along with bassist Eric Brittingham, guitarist Michael Shermick, and drummer Tony Destra. Aside from playing the local Jersey Philly scene, for a while the band's biggest claim to fame was a hot dog commercial. Eventually, all this hard work would pay off, and they'd be at the right place at the right time.
Cinderella is truly a success story. Seemingly, you came out of nowhere. Give us capsule history of the band. Where did it all start?
The band was originally started in '83, right around then, wouldn't you say?
Yes.
Fred? Yes, '83.
Fred didn't join the band until 1985.
And we were playing in Philadelphia, New Jersey clubs, doing an all-original, all of our own material, and recording demos and working day jobs and all that kind of stuff.
Biz stuff.
Yeah, sending out tapes and getting enough rejection letters to wallpaper our house with,
Along with demo tapes, the band would also send out a low-budget music video they made for what would later be their first single, Shake Me. This version is a bit slower, and mostly shows the band playing in what appears to be a black box theater. There's also a sort of a side story going on with a girl I assume is meant to be Cinderella. She's in a limo, but that turns into a carriage. For some reason, it's being driven by Michael Shermick. He goes inside with Cinderella while itching at his dandruff. It's nothing creepy, he's just going inside to rock out a sweet guitar solo. Shake Me is already a good song, but this version lacks the punch it would eventually have as a radio single.
We got our lucky break when John Bon Jovi saw us in Philadelphia at a club that we play quite frequently.
That would be the Empire Rock Club in 1985.
Yeah, but this is the club where our friend John Bon Jovi saw us, and we got into the band right here. He was just hanging out and saw the band, and he helped us out from that point.
Before the signing went through, Michael Shermick, or Michael Kelly Smith as he's better known, and Tony Destra left to start the much glammier band Britny Fox, leaving Cinderella without a second guitarist or a drummer. Guitarist Jeff LaBar would join the band around this time, and after going through a handful of other drummers, including Jody Cortez, who actually played the drums on Cinderella's first album, they'd finally land on drummer Fred Coury. Cinderella's debut album, Night Songs, released on August 2nd, 1986 and produced by the legendary Andy Johns, is a fantastic blend of hard rock and blues guitar with a somewhat misleading album cover. Cinderella are not as glammy as their name and this album cover may have you believe. The music is much more hard rock and blues, but the presentation definitely leans into the hair metal look. Everyone is wearing boots. You got zebra print, plenty of scarves, the pointing guns. With all that plus the random smoke behind them, it checks all the boxes. The first single off the album was Shake Me, which got a new big-budget music video. This one brings back the Cinderella character and also introduces her two evil stepsisters. Cinderella hasn't finished her chores, so the stepsisters won't let her go to the Cinderella concert with them.
Oh, so sad. We're going to the Cinderella concert and you'll have to stay home. Bye.
Luckily for Cinderella, this is an 80s music video, so her band poster magically comes to life and transports her directly to the concert. The stepsisters try to get in, but the show is sold out, and for some reason, the sold out sign is facing the inside. So Cinderella just hangs out at the concert and eventually leaves with the band, ditching her stepsisters, who apparently never even had tickets to begin with. The next track is the band's second biggest hit, Nobody's Fool. And the best part is that the music video picks up right where the last one left off, with the stepsisters following the band. Before they do, though, they have to put on clock hats. It turns out that the band is going to film a music video. Apparently, this could only be done at 11 p.m. right after a concert. Cinderella, of course, has to be home by midnight. She rushes home just in time to change back to her regular self, and then goes straight to bed. I mean, she runs back to the band, where 100 fans have shown up at 1 in the morning for some reason. She's all excited to see Tom again, but it's like 2 in the morning, so he's probably pretty tired and just wants to go to bed. The third single from Night Songs was Somebody Save Me. This video was the final return of the stepsisters, and we see them running, well, their butts running, to the studio where Cinderella are recording with Andy Johns.
Okay, you guys, let's do one more. The only thing is,
It's still the choruses are pulling a little bit, but as soon as we fix that, we got it.
let's do it again.
This seems to annoy the band, but they start rocking anyway. Andy Johns watches the band rock out and make faces for a bit until we eventually dissolve into concert footage, which makes up the majority of the video. But finally, they're done recording, and everyone is happy with the take.
Okay, that's it. We got it. Great, come on in.
That was great. All right, dude. Cool, man. Finally.
The band leaves the studio sounding exactly like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and run into the stepsisters right outside.
Oh, yeah.
It's them! Ah!
What's the deal here?
But it's actually Bon Jovi and Richie Sambora they're after. Better luck next time, guys.
Oh, man.
Good,
It's
Fred.
not my fault.
Yeah, it is.
Don't push me. Oh, forget about him.
Cinderella's follow-up album, Long Cold Winter, was released on May 21st, 1988, and would venture even further into bluesy rock. And this time, they skipped the album cover altogether.
Looking on back
Long Cold Winter has one of my favorite opening tracks of all time, Bad Seamstress Blues into Falling Apart at the Seams. It starts off with this bluesy, almost lazy riff, like you're sitting on the front porch with your guitar, and then it slams into the first song, and it tells you exactly what you're going to get with this album. The first of 4 singles off the album is Gypsy Road, which has a kinda twangy country vibe to it. It's such a good song, I don't even mind that the music video is just shots from the band's vacation to Mexico. If you've only heard one Cinderella song, it's probably this one. Don't Know What You Got Till It's Gone was the band's biggest hit, reaching number 12 on the Billboard music chart. As the band's only real power ballad, it's also the only track that showcases Tom's piano playing skills.
There's the piano.
Yes, you heard it here first. This is actually the piano that I wrote. Don't know what you got till it's gone on. That's why I wrote it.
The video was filmed at Mono Lake in California, so I guess that's why the band is all playing separately to showcase the sweeping location. Jeff's on a cliffside, Eric's by the lake, Fred is also there, and Tom's in a rock quarry, and by a barn, and in a plateau somewhere. The third single, The Last Mile, is a good song, but the video is just another concert video. Kinda starting to miss those stepsisters. The fourth single off of Long Cold Winter is Coming Home. It has got to be their goofiest video. So first we're on some construction site. You can tell because of the wrecking balls and all the welding. And this overly handsome guy quits his construction job. I guess that's his boss, he looks like a boss. But he leaves with a handshake and heads out to his bike on the open road. But where's he going? Oh, he's got a girlfriend. I guess that's why he's coming home. Then he stops for gas, flirts with the gas station chick. I have no idea who those kids are. But he ain't got time. He's coming home. But he has setbacks. And has to hitchhike. You could do that in the 80s. Finally, the guy gets home, but it's all boarded up. He didn't call ahead. He breaks in, which is probably illegal, honestly. Finds a picture of his girlfriend. But wait, she's there after all. Maybe he did call ahead. By the time Cinderella's third album, Heartbreak Station, came out on November 20th, 1990, the musical landscape was starting to change, which is maybe one reason why Cinderella decided to take a slightly different approach to this album. In fact, Heartbreak Station is kinda hard to describe, so I'll let Tipsy Tom Kiefer explain.
You know, each track
you know, musically was real different from the next one, and we wanted to sonically, and the sound of the record for the track of it, we wanted to give it its own personality and character. So we went into a studio that we felt was suited to that particular song. And you know, we did 2 tracks here, 3 tracks there, 4 tracks down here in New Orleans, and that's came out that way too. When you listen to the record, it kind of takes you for a ride musically and sound-wise.
That's true. It does take you on a ride both musically and sound-wise. Every song on this album sounds like it's going for a different feel or a different tone, and so it ends up just kind of feeling all over the place. The album cover is kind of a metaphor for the album itself because there are too many people on that porch. And with over 40 additional musicians credited on the album, it may have been a bit too ambitious. The album opens with the first of 3 singles, The More Things Change, and you can already tell that the band has totally done away with any trace of hair metal. And that opening song is followed by this. The second single off Heartbreak Station was Shelter Me, a gospel-flavored southern rock track with a fever dream music video featuring Little Richard on a giant red novelty phone hosting a telethon that in no way relates to the song. I guess they're raising money for rock and roll because rock and roll is like therapy. You know, like fetish sex, gambling, and religion. What's most confusing, though, is that you have Tom Kiefer and Little Richard, but neither of them play piano. But we do get a saxophone solo. Then we go from the gospel sounds of Shelter Me to Cinderella's last single, Heartbreak Station. Heartbreak Station is about as straightforward a song as you can get, and so is the video. The chorus is about trains. You get trains! The big hair, the spandex, and the color are all gone and replaced with leather jackets in a more serious tone. The rest of Heartbreak Station is a mixed bag of country tunes, and familiar light rock. Obviously, Heartbreak Station still has the blues and classic rock influences from the previous 2 albums, but it also adds more country elements and pulls way back on the metal. Cinderella would put out one last album, Still Climbing, on November 8th, 1994. There isn't much worth mentioning on the album other than Talk Is Cheap, which sounds like a proper 80s Cinderella song, probably because it is.
Alright, we got a new song for you, Tokyo. This one's called Talk Is Cheap.
Aside from the decline in popularity of flashy metal in the early 90s, Cinderella faced another career-altering setback when Tom started experiencing troubling vocal issues.
I started having problems with my voice in 1991. I was out on tour, and something just changed, and it felt like it was almost overnight. I eventually went to a doctor in Philadelphia, and he said, "You've got a weakness in your left vocal cord that we call a paresis," which layman's term, it's a partial paralysis. And he said, it can wreak havoc in a singing voice. He said the only way that you would be able to recover from this, and the way people recover, is voice training. It's a nightmare. I mean, I was at the height of my career at the time. It was the third record with Cinderella. I eventually did fix it through therapy, but I went through, I don't know how many different teachers. I finally found a coach about 3 years ago who was unlike any teacher that I ever worked with. And with each tour I've gone out the last few years, it's getting stronger and stronger and stronger, and I'm getting more and more confident with it.
Luckily, Tom was able to get the issue under control for the most part, and while they never released another studio album, Cinderella toured off and on through 2013. Since 2013, Tom has been focusing on solo albums, with his most recent, Rise, coming out in 2019. In 2014, Jeff LaBar released his solo album, One for the Road. Fred Coury has become a multi-award-winning composer for television and sports, spending most of his time at his LA recording studio. Eric Brittingham still plays bass, most recently with Bret Michaels' band. So that's your Cinderella lesson. For homework, check out Cinderella's first two albums, Night Songs from 1986 and Long Cold Winter from 1988. Thanks for watching!